actually our CSs are not taking this issue seriously. And, you know, when I see them not coming here, it informs me that that could be the reason why you see a whole plane load of Chinese are landing in KNH, in Embakasi, and be released, and bring things like self-quarantine, which actually is something that never works. It never works. I don't know where it came from anyway. All right? And then the question of screening. Screening, the methods you're using, the parameters. You're using temperature. Honestly, if I know I have a temperature, and I'm landing at JKI, 2 hours to landing, I'll take an antipyretic, and I'll be landing with a normal temperature. So really, what are you doing? Chair, I think seriousness from our CSS. And I think, I don't know why they're taking it so casually, as if they don't have children, they don't have grandchildren. They seem to be mesmerized by Chinese money. I don't know.
Everybody is exposed, Honorable, even themselves. So nobody is safe. Senator.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Article 153, Sub-Article 3, compels the CS to appear before Parliamentary Committee in person. It does not say that that CS can delegate. And with the seriousness that my colleagues have expressed on this matter, we do not expect anything else. And we do not have the person in charge of public health in these meetings. So, Madam Speaker, I want to agree with my, not Speaker, Chair, I want to agree with my colleagues that we postpone this meeting until the CSs show the seriousness this matter deserves.
Chair, Dr. Nikal explained what pandemic is, and even our people here know. If people of this magnitude, the CSs, could go for a project meeting, whose project are they making for if this disease comes to clear people? It's unfortunate that even some of us, Chair, I particularly had to postpone a very serious function in Baringo to really sit on this table to discuss way forward on how we can give safety to our people. So to me, I support, and for the ministries that are concerned, please adjourn everything else for the purposes of creating time to make sure Kenyans are safe.
Chair, I think what we have here is a very unfortunate situation. I don't think the ministries that we had asked to come do recognize that these are the people's representatives, and the fact that they are trying to downgrade Parliament, the two houses of Parliament, by deliberately not appearing. So it's either that they don't take the matter seriously, or don't take a joint committee of the two houses of Parliament seriously, and that's why they are behaving like this. This was an opportunity for the ministers and the technocrats to actually explain to the people's representative, and in the process, because the media is here, they'll be actually talking to Kenyans. So they'll be able, one, to allay the fears of the Kenyans. They'll be able to explain to the Kenyans what measures they have taken. They'll be able to explain to Kenyans what Kenyans are expected to do in an event that is such an outbreak, or what they can do to avoid such an outbreak. So I think the ministers, and this matter should be reported to both the speakers of the two houses. We should consider it as misconduct on the part of the ministers and their respective ministries.
Thank you. We can't overemphasize this matter. It's a very serious matter. But I've seen the minister has tried to respond some of the questions. But it will be better if he was here in person, so that at least he can put some commitment, because this is a grave matter. Every Kenyan is waiting to see, and to see how, as a government, we are committed. But when I hear that the cabinet secretaries and the permanent secretaries are launching some projects, then it bothers me, because what is so important, it is the health status of our people. And now we have this coronavirus, which is threatening the whole world. How else would we show our commitment if it's not sitting here and assuring our Kenyans that we are safe or we are not safe? Thank you.
I think all has been said, and while I do agree with my colleagues, there is a point that I really need to emphasize on, and one is the Cabinet Secretary for Health has sent his deputy. I think that is perfect and in order. I think that stands quite clearly that that is a senior individual there. I don't want to be interjected. I don't want to be interjected, Senator, when I am going to complete my statement.
When a member says point of order, you allow them to speak.
You freeze.
And then we...
Chair, we are guided by standing orders. And I think Senator, the Senate has read the standing orders that compel the Cabinet Secretaries. And it's for both houses. If the member is in order.
If only a member can understand that a member has...
Order member.
Okay, go ahead, Chair.
Have you finished, Senator Outa?
If the member is in order to speak on behalf of a Cabinet Secretary.
I think the question has been asked. Proceed.
What standing order gives you to respond before I complete my statements?
Honorable Professor, I think point of orders are allowed.
I'll complete.
I would request we proceed with the matter.
I'm really glad that the Senator is seated there and waiting to listen. So I will complete this. A senior member in the ministry has been sent to to sit in place for the Cabinet Secretary. While I have said, if he could listen my statement, while I have said I agree with my colleagues on the point that they have raised on, it also tells us that the Ministry of Transport and Ministry of, the other ministry was Foreign Affairs, are not quite seriously. And it explicitly shows, it is explicitly obvious that the Cabinet Secretaries are not serious on their matters, on these matters that are quite crucial. But my position here comes. The Ministry of Health is well represented. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Transport are not. And we want to see the reason as to why that happens. The other final point I want to raise is that who calls for a cabinet meeting when there is a serious matter in this country? And who has decided on that? What supersedes is the risk our country is facing. And therefore, I also put a point cross forward saying, why should there be a cabinet meeting when there is a serious matter that we are trying to deal with? Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. I request the members who feel there is something burning. We don't have all to speak. If we are still going online. Senator Beth Mogo.
No, thank you, Chair. No, I don't think we should really continue to see we are saying the same thing. I think we should put a cap on it and the chairs can make the decision, unless somebody has a complete new thing to say. But Chair, let me, now that you gave me the floor, that if we adjourn this meeting, can we have assurance that another meeting will be called as soon as possible? Tomorrow, if possible.
Senator Mugeni?
Chair, I think...
members, we're going on a line. I only said if what you are saying is what we have said, just say I support and we move on.
The question.
Just for the record, I don't associate
Senator,
myself...
you spoke, so
I'm asking, just trying to say, just put the question, Madam Chair.
There are some of your colleagues who feel they need to say something. So even if it's 30 seconds, just say I support. If you don't, we're not adding anything new.
The only thing I want to say, I respectively don't agree with the position taken by Professor. I associate myself with the members who have made the point that this matter is so critical that we require the personal appearance of the CS from the three ministries. And I have nothing useful to add.
Chair. Thank you, Chair. Mine is just if those Chinese who are in Dukamoja could be brought to a proper isolation place, because I believe Dukamoja is not an isolation place. Anything can happen. That is a remote area. If anything happens in that area, the epidemic will destroy the whole whole community there. If they can be brought by the minister, it can't wait to wait for the minister to answer this question. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, to support my colleague, Mheshimiwa Aramat, one, it's true, we all in agreement that the place in Tukamoja is not an ideal place for isolation. And that one cannot wait until we have a meeting with the CSS. I think we should agree that those Chinese nationals should be moved with urgency to an ideal place of isolation so that we protect the life of Kenyans. Having said that, as I support the adjournment of this meeting, as my colleagues have said, we cannot adjourn without rescheduling right here, because this is an issue of grave concerns to Kenyans, and I even propose, Madam Chair, that we do it even actually this week. Kenyans are in panic. We can't wait it longer. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Chair, both houses sent questions that needed answers. These are the questions that the public are waiting for the answers. And for me, the fact that we don't have the CS here, that is something we can deal with later. Right now, the answers that have been contained here, given to us, the questions that we ask, that Kenyans want answers for, it's not just us, it's Kenyans. If we're not going to have, if we're going to postpone this sitting, we might as well at least allow the CAS to read the answers that the CS has sent. Because the Kenyans are waiting for these answers.
Yes, Kenyans will have the right answer, the right time.
No, but right now, we have heightened tension in our country. If you saw yesterday, we had some Chinese nationals that were accosted as they were walking in one of the informal settlements, being assaulted in our own country. There is tension right now. The answers contained here can ease those tensions. All right? I think Kenyans have a right to know. The media is here in high presence. They want to hear these answers. For us to postpone because we want to be addressed by the CAS rather than the CAS, these are also members representing the ministry. At the end of the day, Mutahi Kagwe might not be here, but he has sent the answers that the public wants to hear. So let us put our egos down. Let us have these answers.
It is not the ego. No, Chair, we have to withdraw the word. Please, we have to withdraw the word. Ego for who? Who is ego?
I agree.
Order.
Withdraw the word ego.
No, Commissioner, you are leader. Please.
It's an English word. But at the end of the day,
order members.
English word, but it's not parliamentary. It's not parliamentary.
Not parliamentary.
Okay, fine.
Members, we cannot speak all of them.
But at the end of the day,
you need to apologize and withdraw.
At the end of, I apologize, but at the end of the day,
withdraw.
Chair,
Apologize and
Commissioner.
Honestly, contain yourself. Chair, I think it's important that we realize that we are representatives of people. We are only a few members of Parliament here. And the whole country wants...
Are we at any time preventing the minister from making statements, answering questions with the guest of press without us? We are not. So she cannot tell us that we are having ego and the minister can read. He's the one who brought this statement. He can read to the member of Parliament without involving us.
Chair, if it's about...
Members, I think actually for the purposes of what has been presented here, because I have this document. This document was signed by one for the Ministry of Health, Susan Mochache PS, who is not even known where she is. So it's not even about the minister. This was not even signed by the minister, but the PS, whom if the minister had another engagement, would have come in, because she is the one who have signed these answers. So I guess, members, let's proceed. We are finished. We only have 2 members to go on. Order, Honorable Gradwell. We only have Jagagwa and we have Honorable Dwale. So once we are done, we will make a decision.
Thank you, Chair.
Point of order.
This is the chair cannot be out of order. Honorable.
I've just begun. I've not even said anything.
Exactly. So can we allow?
Madam Chair, I'll say this.
Yes.
That historically, you cannot have a cabinet sitting without the president. So what the CS is saying that there's a cabinet meeting is actually, I don't imagine, not factual. They're either having a subcommittee of the CAS's of meeting, but not a cabinet meeting. 2, Madam Chair, as you've said, rightfully said, that letter in response has been signed by the PS. And the CS is here telling us he doesn't know where she is. So there we can derive 2 things. That one, nobody wants to take responsibility of the answers that are going to be given in this chamber. So, Madam Chair, I propose and support that we adjourn this meeting and we take another date. When the 3 CSs will be here, because last time, Madam Chair, I think the CSs have been taking this parliament for granted. They think that we have no teeth to bite. We cannot summon them. Even when they are summoned, they do not appear because nothing has happened to them. So you should also report this matter to the Speaker. They get sanctioned. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And mine is that the responses we got from the CAS Health, the PS Transport, and the DG Immigration is not consistent. Because we have been told that there is a couple which I should expect all ministers to be attending. And then we also told that one of the ministers is attending a Senate committee meeting. And then we are also told that there's another meeting called by CS Mutahi. So one thing I want to agree is that the responses are not adequate. While we are not underrating their competence and the response they'll give, but I think this matter requires the highest attention in each ministry because it has serious implications in terms of budget, in terms of even planning whether we are going to have schools run, whether we are going to do this. So I think I agree with the proposal to postpone this meeting, but I also want to agree with Honorable Beth Mugo that this meeting should be called for as soon as possible.
Point of order.
This afternoon or
Point of order, Chair. Please. You know, this is a very serious issue. As we plan to adjourn, I'm sure that is what we probably are going to make a ruling. The issue of evacuating the Chinese in Suswa. You should actually make a ruling right now. They evacuated today, of which actually failure to it, we are going to mobilize our locals to evacuate them. Today.
Order, Honorable.
Point of order. And the member in order.
Order.
Point of order, Madam Chair. Is a member in order to incite his community against the Chinese nationals.
That's the order. I want to withdraw those comments, Honorable Tongoyo, because we are responsible leaders also. And you know, even if you have to give a directive, you also have to give the government time to even know where they are evacuating them to take them to. So kindly withdraw those words.
I withdraw.
Thank you.
But I was just trying to express how the community is in panic, Madam Chair.
I know.
Yes.
I want to read something, honorable members, before.
Chair.
Order. You know, we cannot all speak. It is important that we have all expressed ourselves. We all gave each one. I think every member has expressed themselves. So I want to allow my co-chair to respond and also respond. Then we have a way forward.
Okay, I think
everybody has spoken, including you, Honorable Mishra.
I have a response to
no response.
One second.
No, it is now my co-chair who is responding. Thank you.
Gentlemen, I think you've heard the sentiments of the members, and it's very, very clear what their feelings are. And we are here for answers. We are here to help Kenyans. Like, for example, if we are to challenge the DG immigration, were you the one who stamped and issued visas for those 239 passengers? Were you the one personally responsible for their entry to this country? I don't think you'll have an answer for that. If I go to the Minister, the Transport Fears, are you the one who issued personal clearance for that plane to land in this country and said it's okay? Is it you who made that decision personally? Yeah. So we don't want a situation whereby it will be a back and forth situation, saying, oh, I'll go back and consult afresh and whatnot. We want to find out from the CAS and the acting DG, you know, this issue of self-quarantine. The 239 people, you sent them out to self-quarantine. Are you satisfied that there's something called self-quarantine? Do you know where these people are? Do you know who they have been in contact with? You know, those are the questions the members are trying to raise here, and we want answers. We just don't want to come for a talk shop here. And it is very clear in the Constitution. If you read Article 153, subsection 3, a cabinet secretary shall attend before a committee of the National Assembly or Senate when required by the committee and answer any question concerning a matter of which the cabinet secretary is responsible. So it is very clear in the Constitution, and we really need to abide by the Constitution. So let my colleague give the ruling, but let's take this matter very seriously.
Honorable members, we have heard you, and I think my co-chair has been very clear. This is a very serious matter, not only for ourselves, but for the people we represent in this house. And having a joint sitting, one of the reasons why we decided as chairs to have a joint sitting, it's because both cabinet secretaries were raising issues that they have been invited by both houses, and they didn't know whether to appear before us or the Senate. And we made their life very easy to just appear on a joint sitting so that we can answer, and they don't have to go to the Senate or come to us back and forth. And now, having made your work easier, kindly also make our work easier. Because we don't want, again, somebody to say, I'm not responsible, I'm going to ask, or I'm not clear. And I've just had a look at the question that Honorable Member had asked about Dukamoja. And I can see they have said the workers are currently under self-quarantine at the site, that is Dukamoja in Narok East, until 14 days are over since arrival in the country. Last day of quarantine is 7th March and 13th March. There are two groups apparently. And then they say none so far has developed any symptoms. So one of the questions that were raised by members, what is this thing that is called self-quarantine? And I have seen they have tried to say something else here, that somebody needs to take responsibility, that self-quarantine is an internationally recognized best practice.
Point of order, Chair.
Point of order,
Chair.
Just
point of order, Chair.
Just a minute, so that then I was making a ruling.
Point of order.
Point of order, Chair. We are discussing the answers, Chair.
Chair, proceed.
I don't want the chair cannot be out of order. That is one thing. And number two, I'm not discussing it. I've just said what I've looked so that I can make my ruling. So when somebody says this is best practice recommended by WHO, and members here, we have majority of us who are doctors have also said they have questions about this self-quarantine, then we are more worried. And so I want to direct as follows, and this is what we have agreed, that we are going to adjourn until tomorrow because this is an urgent matter. We will communicate the same to our speakers and the clerk of the National Assembly so that they can be able to be communicated to today. And we expect then tomorrow at 3 p.m. that we'll meet in the same venue with the same joint committee so that then we can be able to deliberate. And we're expecting, unless it is an emergency, that we have the people responsible, who are the cabinet secretaries, to come and respond to the matters. And so, members, now I want to put the question that we adjourn this meeting until tomorrow, 3 p.m., and the letters to invite the said cabinet secretaries to be done immediately. So will as many of our similar opinions say aye? Aye. And will as many of our contrary opinions say nay? Nay. Okay, the ayes have it.
But did you say
3 p.m.?
3:30. We need to
It's okay.
3:30.
When we say 3 p.m., I know members will be at 3 p.m. 3:30, so the ayes have it already. So members, we have said same venue, 3 p.m.
3 p.m. we have
same venue. We are going to write. That's why, members, it's important to listen. We are going to write, because this is a very important matter. We are going to write to the speakers to allow us to seek permission to allow us to sit at 3 p.m. tomorrow.
Chair. You have not answered.
We have adjourned the meeting. I request the members of the National Assembly to remain. There is a communication to be done. Professor Nyikal.
I'm calling you. Finish in 5 minutes.
I'm amazed. Senator.
Members of the National Assembly, kindly, I would like 1 minute. We remain behind.
The upper house in name only.
Seniors first.
So I call you what? Mother-in-law?